Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the president of the University of Tulsa, Brad Carson.
Good evening, and welcome to Homecoming 2023. It is a pleasure to have our alumni, Tulsa neighbors, and other friends back here on our beautiful campus. Tonight's celebration honors an outstanding group of people who exemplify the power of education and the pride of the TU family. Joining me here on stage are Thomas Porter, TU class of 2014 and president of the TU Alumni Association, and also Paula Kuykendall, TU class of 1986 and president of our Tulsa chapter. Please join me in saluting their good work on behalf of our alumni. We are grateful this homecoming for the support of our very generous sponsors. Representative Suzanne Schreiber, a proud graduate of our law school. Leonel and Joshua Thompson, Lori and Terry Brumbaugh, the Western Sun Federal Credit Union, and the Montereau Retirement Community. The planning for homecoming begins months in advance. It involves a great deal of behind-the-scenes work. Our homecoming committee volunteers lead this effort with additional support from our Tulsa alumni chapter. The team this year was led by Brooke and Harrison Bedford, both of whom are members of the TU class of 2010. Please join me in a round of applause for their terrific work as well. And finally, I would like to recognize three more groups. First, welcome to the members of the University of Tulsa Board of Trustees. I would ask that our current as well as our emeritus members please stand and be recognized. Please stand if you're part of our trustees or have been.
So I'm speaking out here.
Our Alumni Association maintains 12 chapters and 22 clubs throughout the nation. I would also ask if you're a member of our Alumni Association Board of Directors, please also stand and let us welcome you back to homecoming this year. And finally, I'd like to welcome all of the returning distinguished alumni from previous years. The full list of these honorees is in your event program, but I would ask that all of our returning distinguished alumni also stand and now be recognized. So please join me now in welcoming back the president of our Alumni Association Board of Directors, Thomas Porter. Thomas?
Thank you, President Carson. We continue our program by recognizing our top 10 freshmen and Jess Shoto outstanding seniors. In the interest of time, our top 10 freshmen will stay in their seats, but I will ask them to stand and wave as they are announced. Nick Elliott, an applied mathematics major from Overland Park, Kansas. Kenley Gilliland, a biochemistry major from Fort Worth, Texas. Ben Gola, a mechanical engineering major from Houston, Texas. Evan Camrigel, a mechanical engineering and mathematics major from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. Anna Lackner, a chemical engineering and energy management major from Tomball, Texas. Sivhong Lee, a chemical engineering major from Ardmore, Oklahoma. Gwyneth Madon, electrical engineering major from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Chaithada Mundarai, a chemical engineering major from Katy, Texas. Ethan McFarland, a computer science major from Lee's Summit, Missouri. and Lauren Wyan, a biochemistry major from Rogers, Arkansas. Please join me in a round of applause for our top 10 freshmen. Next, we are proud to present our Jess Shoto Outstanding Seniors, who represent excellence in academics and extracurricular leadership. Joining me to honor our seniors are our homecoming committee chairs, Brooke and Harrison Bedford. Julian Apari is a computer science and cybersecurity major from Bixby, Oklahoma. Malia Orijima is a mechanical engineering major from Honolulu, Hawaii. Carter Dearlam is a biochemistry major from Stillwater, Oklahoma. Campbell Eckhart is a biochemistry major from Tuscola, Texas. Hannah Grenier is a business management major specializing in innovation and entrepreneurship from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Jackson Haybrock is a mechanical engineering major from Elkholm, Nebraska. Lindsay Mendenhall is a marketing major from Moore, Oklahoma. David Suh, a biochemistry major from Owasso, Oklahoma. Mia Sissel, a chemical engineering major from Overland Park, Kansas. And Mathan Therakan, a biology major from Jenks, Oklahoma. Please join me in a round of applause for our outstanding seniors. Here now to continue our awards presentation is Tulsa Chapter President Paula Kuykendall.
Thank you, Thomas. As part of this year's alumni celebration, we are excited to add the presentation of a special honor, one that has only been awarded once before in 2014. This honor, the Spirit of TU Award, expresses our admiration of alumni whose allegiance to the university is not only broad in scope, but also driven by outstanding enthusiasm. And I apologize for my voice, so we're going to try to do this tonight. At our 2014 homecoming, we presented the first Spirit of TU Award to the Swindle siblings, Calvin Swindle, Betty, and Bob. If you know how much they love TU, then you understand how high the bar is for this honor. Tonight, we present the Spirit of TU Award to our dear friends, Forrest and Sharon Cameron. Forrest and Sharon have been lifelong friends and generous supporters of TU. Sharon graduated from TU in 1968 with a bachelor's degree in accounting, and Forrest graduated in 1974 with a bachelor's degree in economics. They met at a TU football game, and the rest is history. Forrest pulled together several interesting strands over the course of his career. He was a newsman, a publisher, a fundraiser, and at one point led the mine safety program at Pikeville College in Kentucky. Most recently, he served as the CEO and publisher of GTR News. Here at TU, Forrest and Sharon have served extensively on committees, boards, and projects. I have never been to a committee meeting that one or both were not there. These include work with the Homecoming Committee, the Tulsa Chapter Board, the TU Uncorked fundraiser, the Heritage Committee, the True Blue Alumni Volunteers Initiative, our media studies, communication, and advertising programs, the Golden Hurricane Club, and more. They are also generous financial supporters of TU Uncorked and KWGS Golden Hurricane Athletics and the Collins College of Business. Forrest and Sharon, we are deeply grateful for your ongoing support of the University of Tulsa, and we are inspired by your example. We know that a TU degree sets the stage for a lifelong success, and you are shining examples of that journey. And if you ever see them together, they're always holding hands, so we could all hope for that. On behalf of everyone on campus and throughout the alumni community, I am pleased to present you with the second ever Spirit of TU Award, along with our love and admiration. I've never done a beauty pageant thing, so I'm not quite sure how to.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Ace wants a picture. Okay. I think they're also season ticket holders for football and basketball, and you'll see them at almost every game. Each year, a selection committee from the Alumni Association names a Mr. or Miss Homecoming. Candidates are TU employees nominated by their peers as models of professionalism and TU spirit. Helping to ensure student success has been a major theme of the past few years. Sorry. TU's work here includes a reorganization of student support services, new systems to spot problems, and our King Careers job placement guarantee. This year's Miss Homecoming works on the front lines of student success, where she supports our student athletes with professionalism and genuine care. Shanae Bates Neely has worked at the University of Tulsa for 22 years and currently serves as Associate Athletic Director for Student Success. She previously served as Associate Athletic Director for Student Athlete Development and in other related roles. Shanae's work takes many different forms. She has coordinated community outreach activities, arranged speakers for workshops, and helped student athletes with their career placement opportunities. If you talk to any TU athlete and say her name, they light up. She has also served on the managing committees for TU Uncorked and Homecoming. A native of St. Louis, Missouri, Shanae earned her bachelor's degree in mass communication in 1997 and a master's degree in industrial organizational psychology in 2000, both from TU. Please join me in welcoming Shanae Bates Neely.
Good evening, everyone. I just, first of all, want to thank God because without him, this would not be possible. I also just want to thank TU and the Alumni Association for this award, for my family and friends who have been very supportive of me on this journey. It is definitely an honor to come to work every day at my alma mater and to make a difference in the lives of student athletes. It's just been an amazing journey, and I look forward to continuing this journey at TU. Go TU.
So thank you again, Shanae, for all that you do here at TU. And again, congratulations. Now I'm going to welcome President Carson back to the stage.
Thank you, Paula. Congratulations, Shanae, to Forrest, and Sharon, to the Jess Shoto outstanding seniors, to the top 10 freshmen. Congratulations to you all. It is my pleasure now to introduce the recipient of this year's J. Paschal Twyman Award for exceptional service to the university. Twyman honorees are selected by the past President's Council of the Alumni Association, people who know TU family, and they know what it means to serve the University of Tulsa. This year's honoree is James D. Miller. As is widely known already, James D. Miller is a very longtime friend of TU. He's previously been honored as the TU Distinguished Alumnus and an outstanding alumnus of the Collins College of Business. He is a certified public accountant who graduated with the class of 1966. Among his many service roles at TU, he has stood by the accounting program with generous giving and by serving on the advisory board of our Conference of Accountants. Jim is also a longtime member of the Executive Advisory Board for the Collins College of Business. As active as he is at the college level, Jim also makes time to serve the university as a whole. He's a former president of our Alumni Association, a former director of our Tulsa chapter, and a former chair and member of the Alumni Association's past President's Council. He has also served on the committee for our TU Uncorked fundraiser. Jim and his wife Judy are generous donors as well. They are members of our Chapman Legacy Society and Circle Society. They have made gifts to support a wide variety of TU programs, including the Collins College of Business, the Tulsa Undergraduate Research Challenge, KWGS Public Radio 89.5, TU Uncorked, and Tulsa Golden Hurricane Athletics. Jim's example of service has taken root with others, including his daughters, Jill and Julie. In 1992, they honored their father with an endowment that provides textbook support for accounting students. So Jill, Julie, thank you for following your dad's bright example. As Jim comes up here to the stage, please join me in giving him yet another round of applause for his exceptional service.
Thank you so much, and thank all of you for being here tonight. Congratulations to the freshmen and the seniors, particularly the seniors. I know you're really excited on your award tonight. People ask me sometimes, why do you spend so much time at TU? Why do you go to every athletic event? You go to every committee meeting, you go to every board meeting? And the answer is simple. I feel like I owe a lot to TU, and I love TU. When I was in high school, I was a pretty shy kid. I came to TU, and I ended up with 3 great things as a result of that. First, a really, really good education. I didn't realize how good it was until after I was graduated and could see how I had an advantage on my competitors that went to other schools. And I recruited here for 30 years and hired tons of really good people like Paula Kuykendall. Second, I got some leadership opportunities that I never had in high school or before, primarily through my membership in my fraternity Kappa Alpha Order. We had 4 jobs that paid money through reduced dues, but they also provided leadership opportunities: kitchen manager, house manager, treasurer, and president. And for the last 3 years in college, I did every one of those jobs. I needed the money, but what I didn't realize was the leadership experience I got and the experience at running a business. And third, and most important of all, in the fall of 1963, I met Judy Yates. We were married in 1966, and she is my rock. She boosts me up when I need boosting up, and she pulls me down when I need to be pulled down. And I just want Judy to know I love you very much. Later, I went to work for Arthur Anderson, who, as you know, I worked for 30 years. And I got to work all over the world. I got to see people and meet people from different colleges and universities. And one of the things that I learned from that experience is how good TU grads are. I hired in the neighborhood of 150 to 175 students from TU to work for Arthur Anderson. Almost universally, they were really, really good. So in conclusion, I'd like to thank all of you for being here tonight. My wife, particularly my family, Judy, my daughters, Julie and Jill, they're both college professors, and all my favorite niece, Laurie, my sister, Susan and Sally. There's a lot of TU grads in there, and they're all great people. So thank you again very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jim, for all you have done for the University of Tulsa and to your family as well. Now we come to the centerpiece of our program as we honor this year's Distinguished Alumni. Our first honoree is Dave Rader, who graduated in 1980 with a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering. As a student, as we all know, Dave lettered in football and played quarterback for the Golden Hurricane. He later returned to coach our team, and he's a member of our Athletics Hall of Fame. But throughout his career, Dave balanced his love of football, his talent as an engineer, as well as a strong dedication to public service. Since 2016, he has served as state senator for Oklahoma's 39th district. His committee service includes energy, finance, and public safety. And now he serves as vice chair of the Appropriations Committee. Our second honoree is Danny Williams, TU Law class of 1991. Danny is an attorney at Frederick Dorwart Lawyers here in Tulsa, and he's a mediator with Accord Mediation and Arbitration. His earlier career includes times at other premier Tulsa firms, service as assistant district attorney here in Tulsa, and for a time, the United States Attorney for the Northern District of Oklahoma. Before we invite our honorees on stage, we have a special video to share. Many thanks to Danny and Dave for sitting down with us to share some of their experiences and some of their memories.
So I'm a third-generation lawyer. My grandfather, Peter Addison Chappelle, came to Tulsa in 1913, I believe. He was a lawyer during the race massacre. He was one of the three lawyers that represented plaintiffs whose houses and businesses had been destroyed during the 1921 race massacre. My grandmother went to TU and got her master's degree in, I want to say, the early 70s. The next member of my family was Judge Carlos Chappelle, my uncle, who went to law school out there in the 1980s.
To go to the games in high school, I would sell the programs. I knew I'd really risen, to the top of the program sellers when Bill Wall came to me and says, you need to make sure that you sell these 5 programs. I said, well, why? He says, because these had the winning numbers or whatever they were giving away that night. So I knew, I'm at the top now. I'm the top program seller because I had to sell these 5.
I was not born and raised in Tulsa, but because of my grandmother's early connection to TU and then with Judge Chappelle Carlos, TU was always an integral part. Tulsa was always an integral part of my life. We spent summers and Christmases up here, and when I graduated from college, it was a natural move back to Tulsa. When I was deciding on law school, the University of Tulsa was at the top of the list. And so when I got accepted, I called and advised him that I'd been accepted to TU. And so he said, well, if you come back, I'll pay for law school. And so I came to TU on the Chappelle Scholarship, and the rest is history.
I had an appointment to the Air Force Academy, I had an appointment to the Naval Academy, some other colleges, but TU just was there, and I just knew you were going to have a really good education. It was my town.
I grew up in a all-black town in the Mississippi Delta. Went to a predominantly black college at HBCU. And so TU was culture shock. This was the first time that I was going to an integrated school. But I met many friends there, lifelong friends. One of my dearest friends is a federal magistrate now. And so the experience was much easier because I met such wonderful people at the law school.
After much considerations, we decided to go there. A lot of people wanted me to go out of town, said it'd be better for you to grow up that way. And I thought, man, I don't know. This is my town. I really like the University of Tulsa. I know I'm going to have a really good education. And that's when we made the commitment to go there. Little did I know just how good a decision that was going to be.
When you enter law school, you're in a professional school. And so you're trying to navigate the fact that you're only going to take one test a semester. And so you need to get the material down, and the fact that TU and its professors had an open door policy and would allow you to come in and discuss whatever issues you were having really made my experience the better. So when I started at TU, I was single. I gotten engaged. My wife of 34 years was living in Chicago. She moved here the beginning of my second semester of my first year. We got married that June. She tells me that she was the provider, and she was for the 2 years that I was in law school. We were lucky to have two beautiful children, and we have one grandchild now, and I hope that he'll be a TU graduate.
And you always hear this. You always hear that it's so true at TU that the professors take an interest in the students, but they do. And one of the reasons I wanted to do engineering is because some people said, well, you can't play football being an engineer. I said, well, game on. And I really believe that they thought that part of their department was on the field and that they were glad an engineering student was the quarterback in the team.
I can recall a very traumatic experience. My grandfather passed away right after my first year of law school. He actually passed away the day I was scheduled to take a final. And I recall going to my professor and explaining to him that I was not emotionally ready to take that test. And he told me, that he was very close to his grandfather and that I was not going to take that test that day. And he accommodated me, and I never forgot that.
We had the jock dorm, and thank you, Mr. LaFortune. Thank you for that, because it was the class dorm of the time for athletes anywhere in the country. It's because in that dorm, so another great attraction at the University of Tulsa, there were young men from the East Coast, from the West Coast, from Canada. We had guys from Chicago. I said, I don't even know if I know how to talk Chicago, and you learn to communicate with these and learn how to live with them, and it's a great life lesson.
Initially, I thought I wanted to move to Atlanta, Georgia, and so I sent about 50 or 60 resumes cold to Atlanta, and I got 60 rejection letters and decided, well, maybe I should stay in Tulsa, which was really the best decision I could make for my career. I started off as a young assistant district attorney, and my career just seemed to take off. I thought I wanted to be in a bigger city, but Tulsa fit my career perfectly.
Well, I just knew I was going to be drafted high, and then on draft day I started seeing names drafted before me that I never heard of. Finally, in the 11th round, the Chargers drafted me, and the reason they drafted me is because the day that they came in to evaluate Ricky Watts, but Joe Gibbs was the one that came in, and this is Joe Gibbs before Joe Gibbs was Joe Gibbs. And he remembered me and said, well, we'd like for you to come to camp. We had that opportunity and lost our job, they cut us, and came back to finish up my degree. Then the Giants had me come and join them, and that's where I played under Ray Perkins. That association then is going to change our life later on.
Actually, I go to private practice for about 18 years, and then in 2011 or so, I was contacted by the Obama administration about the U.S. Attorney's position. Went through that vetting process and was nominated in 2012. I was confirmed in 2012 and took office in August of 2012.
And we moved back to Tulsa and take an engineering job. A year later, Coach Bryant steps down and they hire Ray Perkins, and he calls me and says, hey, you want to come and join me and be a coach at Alabama? I said, sure. Coached there for 3 years, 1 year at Mississippi State, come back to Tulsa with George Henshaw for a year, and Coach Henshaw decides to go to the NFL. The university makes a really, really good decision and hires me as the head coach. I knew I could do the job. I knew the university. I knew what kind of players that we had there. I knew what kind of players it's going to take to be successful there.
My focus on civil litigation, doing a lot of work in the condemnation area. I represent several municipalities, the state of Oklahoma. I do contract negotiations as part of my practice. But primarily it's litigation on the civil side, some criminal defense.
And that's one of the best things about coaching, to see that change and see how they mature into an adult and they throw away some childish things. See the value of education and then see the value of being a good person and making a positive difference. Gosh, so many stories. One young man we took out of Mississippi, out of a junior college in Mississippi. It was one of those guys where, the high school told him, you wouldn't be able to go to college, you better get a job. Well, he went to a junior college. So we brought him in. We didn't know if he's going to make it, but he graduated with a degree from the University of Tulsa. He goes back to that high school that told him, you may ought to get a job you're not going to be able to make, you can't go to college anymore. And today he's the principal of that high school. What do you think he's telling those kids? You think he's telling them you can't make it? Thinking he's telling them you better give up? In the middle of some rural community of Mississippi, he's telling those kids, you can make it, look at me.
I think the professional relationships obviously are very important, but it's the friendships that you develop with your colleagues over the years. The fact that a lot of my classmates are litigators, and I get a chance to see them either at the federal courthouse or the state courthouse, and we can talk about our kids. It's been so rewarding to kind of stay within that community all these years.
I love to keep up with Coach Blankenship. Bill and I play together, and he's had such a stellar career in coaching. Jerry Taylor, I let him handle some of my money to do that, but you trust guys like that you know. Mark Wojciechowski has been a very, very good friend and helped me in my campaigns to do that, and has offered wisdom over the years. So it's great to see them, because you immediately go back to those days and the friendship is rekindled and you just take off again with it.
I love my career. I've seen things and done things in my career that I would never imagine as a 15, 16-year-old from a rural town in Mississippi. The law, TU law, allowed me to go to D.C. and meet with some of the top power brokers in the government. But mostly what I found is that I've been able to help people throughout my career.
The summer before our senior year, we're at Shotgun Sam's. Finally got my nerve up and said, would you go out on a date? And she said, yes. Well, I wasn't prepared for that. I said, okay, great. So that was the summer of '74. So we've been dating 49 years now. And she's put up with an awful lot. She's the best wife. She's the best mom. She is lights out at being a grandmother.
I really do believe in the attorney counselor part of my job description. And so, when I've been able to counsel young men and young women when they've gotten in trouble and let them know that life is bigger than, at that time, what they're doing, and that they can redeem themselves and do better, has been very rewarding to me.
Most of the leaders they're a part of a crowd, and they look around, nobody else is going to lead. They say, well, I'll lead. I'll go do it. I just don't think that you come out there and say, hey, y'all follow me. It's mostly we look around, nobody else is, so we do that. So that's where it started. So it's always in the back of your mind that maybe you serve through an elected position someday. And then an individual that had a real positive impact on my life is a young man by the name of Steve Largent. One of the reasons I go to the University of Tulsa because they had Steve Largent is because Steve Largent is involved in Young Life, and he's having an impact on many high school students around Tulsa by being involved in that. And then he runs for office and said, well, there you go. Years later, I'm running for office, and I run into six of those professors that happen to be in my district that I'm trying to win an office seat. 3 of them supported my campaign, and 3 of them weren't really that hot for me running for office. And so the 3 that helped my campaign, they were invited here tonight, and and the other 3 didn't receive an invitation. But anyway, not to say that I hold grudges, but I do have a long memory.
Well, I think TU is important because it's the university of the city. And I think that TU's identity is intertwined with the city of Tulsa. And I think that, the fact that we have new leadership with President Carson and what he's done to reinvigorate TU and the students and the campus, and has integrated the law school more into the fabric of the overall university. I really see TU as the center of Tulsa and as it expands over the next few years.
The identity of being a University of Tulsa graduate. I didn't realize at the time, but when you went out there, people said, oh, even today, oh, you graduated from TU. Well, we know that's a really good school. When I go talk to people, I tell them, I've been fired 8 times. The committee, maybe they didn't know that invited me to be a distinguished alumni. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. But when you're in high-profile jobs, you just got to be prepared for that.
Fred Dorwood sent me an email about having breakfast and discuss an issue, which I thought was kind of strange because he's only 3 floors down, and I could walk down to his office to have this discussion.
Well, one of my former players is Jerry Ostrowski. Jerry one day said, I think I'm going to nominate you for Distinguished Alumni. I said, great, appreciate it, Jerry. So I never heard from him again for a while. And then Rick Dixon called and said, hey, let's do breakfast.
And, he followed up with me a couple of weeks later and wanted to make sure that we were still going to have this breakfast meeting. I show up at the restaurant, and it is the dean of the law school, and he says, hey, you're having breakfast with us. At this breakfast, I was told that I was going to be honored by the university, and needless to say, I was very shocked and humbled.
So we finally get together sometime in May, and I think it's been like 2 months we were trying to get together. And we sat down, he says, Jerry O's going to join us this morning. I said, oh, great, that'd be fun, maybe one of you 2 will buy breakfast. I doubt it, but probably be on me. And so Jerry comes in, and we start talking, and then they said, oh, you were selected. Great. Selected for what? They said, oh, you've been selected as one of the distinguished alums, and I just, and you can tell it's not easy for me to be silent.
When I was at the law school, being a distinguished alumni was the furthest thing from my mind. And I think I've had a good career, and it's just humbling to know that the school wants to recognize you for the things that you've accomplished in your career.
I had no words, because I know other people are going to have deeper resumes than I do, and more impressive resumes, but no one will be more honored than Dave Rader.
I can't put into words how humbled I am by this experience.
To be recognized in such a way, I had no words and was emotionally touched.
Ladies and gentlemen, as they join us on stage, please give a warm welcome to our newest TU Distinguished Alumni, Dave Rader and Danny Williams.
Congratulations, Danny, Dave, for this well-deserved honor, for the extraordinary lives you lead, and thank you for representing TU so proudly in all of your work and in your daily lives. We would like now to give you the opportunity to say a few words if you'd like. So we'd ask each of you to come to the podium for individual recognition. So ladies and gentlemen, please join me once again in recognizing TU Distinguished Alumnus Dave Rader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for emphasizing the word few. May not happen tonight. I want to say thank you to the trustees. I'm going to be reading a bunch from my notes here. Thanks for the confidence. Dr. Carson, with the response that following this sentence, we are all glad you are our president. Jerry O, thanks for going to bat for me. I appreciate that. Rick, we're glad that you're our AD. Thanks for not firing me after the 1990 season. Let's speak a little bit about Janet on the video. She's incredible. Just can't say enough about her. So this, this bunch goes to her on this. Our families, much of our families here, there are 6 people here tonight that call Janet Mama J. So Jet, Jax, Knox, Myers, Lively, and Maxwell. 6 of our 9 are here. Daniel and Deidre and Michael and Kendall. Kendall is our TU grad. She's an SLP grad here. Yes, SLP. Got that. My brother's here. I couldn't help but think about riding our bikes over here during the summer. We always thought maybe Jim was air conditioned till we got in there, but we would sneak in and shoot baskets. Coach Hayes would come out, look at us, and not run us off, so we always appreciated that. My roommate Ed Hare is here. Rick, I don't know if you know this, but Ed and I played in 3 varsity sports. We both played a varsity football game. We both played a varsity baseball game. We both played a varsity basketball game. We think that we're the last 2 to ever do that, so we're expecting that to be in next year's media guide. We spoke of the professors. Can't say enough about the professors here at the University of Tulsa. They were great, still are. It's the backbone of this school. No offense to anybody, professors are great. I have many friends here tonight, TU friends. Thanks for your support. Really appreciate that. I want to say thanks to the Golden Hurricane Club, the Chapman Trust, for sending F.A. Dry to our house, and offering a scholarship. They said, hey, you can play football and we'll pay for your schooling. Deal. That's, it's about the players here. I wish we'd won more games. But man, we had a lot of excellent people. We didn't reach them all, but we still graduated ahead of the campus rate. We have coaches and teachers out there. You heard about the one that's the principal of the high school. We have individuals that are in law enforcement. We have one that gave the ultimate sacrifice as a law enforcement officer. We have firefighters. One's a captain. We have one former player bought an apartment complex, and he only rents to those who are formerly incarcerated, and he shows them that there's hope in Jesus. We have businessmen. They go anywhere from cars to medical sales into finance. They're doing that. We have a physician who serves in rural Oklahoma. We have one who established a ministry in Texas and proclaims the gospel every day. We have husbands. We have dads. We have one that's established a school that focuses on the underserved so that they can receive the education going to college. I don't know how many NFL years we had come out of there. We have small business owners. We have an Olympic silver medalist. We have some who erred, straightened out, and now they come back and they contribute to society. We have one that showed us so much courage and guts that we named an award after him, after how he came back from a devastating car accident. The university is a great place. It's always going to be about the players, it's going to be about the people. For almost 50 years now, I've been known as being associated with TU. Yes, I wear it with pride, even when some poor soul asked me if I coached Steve Largent. Man. So, may we always be loyal, always true. We lift our voice in chorus. Now you have to help me out here. Hail to Tulsa U.
Thank you, Dave. Finally, join me again in recognizing TU Distinguished Alumnus Danny Williams.
If you told me in 1991, when I was worried if I'd passed my DET class that I would be up here today, I would have told you to go to Vegas and bet your money on something else. I want to thank President Carson. I want to thank the Alumni Association for this very, very distinguished award and recognition. I'm so humble and thankful. I want to thank my fellow honorees, Coach Rader, Mr. Miller, and Shanae Bates Neely. Congratulations on your honor, and I'm proud to be here with you tonight. You know, I've always told anyone that listens that any success I've had in my life has been because of my family. And so I've got my brother Thomas here today. I want to thank him. I want to thank my twin sister. When we were growing up, she was always the boss, and so now I have two bosses, Wendy and Danette, and thank you all for coming. I want to thank my children. Wendy and I made a decision when I was in law school, partially because of my grandmother, that she told us to wait to have kids, and so we did. But when we did, our first child was Morgan Yvonne Williams, and then there's Danny Williams Jr. We call him Chap. He's named after my grandfather, who I talked about in the video. And then the youngest addition to our family, who I hope will be our fifth generation lawyer to go to TU, is Cairo Chappelle Williams. Thank you all. You are the joy of my life, and you're the best things that happened to me and your mother. Thank you so much. And lastly, well, not lastly, but most importantly, I want to thank my wife. I met her in 1986 in New Orleans, Louisiana at Dillard University. And she was just a pretty girl walking on campus, and I happened to be sitting next to a fraternity brother. I was like, who is that girl right there? And he said, oh, that's my home girl from Chicago. I said, well, can you get a number? He said, yeah, I'll try. And believe it or not, she said no. But I was not deterred. And eventually I got her number, and I convinced her to move to Tulsa, Oklahoma it would have been the winter of 1989. And while we were going through law school, Wendy had just finished nursing school, and she supported our family, and she couldn't understand why I was studying so much. And what I didn't tell her is we only had one test a semester, and I couldn't take a chance on not studying. And so, Wendy, thank you. I love you so much. You've always supported me. You've always told me that I could achieve anything, and I love you, and thank you. I want to thank my friend and my law partner, Paul DeMiro. He came here tonight. He was out of town yesterday, and he called and said, I want to be here. So thank you, Paul, for coming tonight. As you heard in the video, my family has a long history with Tulsa, starting with my grandmother and my uncle, who got their master's degrees here, and then my uncle Carlos. He was a practicing attorney when I was in high school, and we would talk about me going to law school, and I came out here and I got the bug. I really enjoyed following him around and watching him in court, and I met judges and other practitioners, and I knew I wanted to do that. And so when I decided to come to TU, I stayed at my grandparents' home, and it was a great experience. My first semester, though, was tough. It was an adjustment to being in professional school. And I remember I would cry, literally, driving out to the law school because I didn't know if I could make it. But I had a praying grandmother, and she would pray for me every morning and would tell me I was going to be okay. So I'm here because of them, and I'm very honored, and thank you very much, and go TU.
Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Coach. Let's give a final round of applause for our 2023 Distinguished Alumni and all of this evening's honorees. Thank you again for being part of our Distinguished Alumni Salute this evening. I look forward to seeing you around campus. Have a good night and safe travels.